Once again, this is a Big CED back at it. My friends are better than yours, and we have a special edition today because the guy is not my friend. So I had to make a little, exception to my friends category. But it's gonna be one of those conversations, peoples. But seriously, for people that's tuning in for the first time, my name is Big CED. I have a site called Industry Code Sign. I've been doing this. I've been at this game for a lot of years, and I'm used to speaking to like a lot of executives, celebrities, and things of that nature. But I'm more focusing on actual friends or people I call friends or people I call friends to their face that I really don't like. That are doing their thing, and that I think that my audience and everybody watching and people who get to watch will find out somebody new if they don't know the person. So any and everybody that's featured on this program are definitely people that you need to know. And I'm going to allow the gentleman to introduce himself because I can't pronounce his name because I'm from the Bronx and he's from Brooklyn. So automatically we have a natural disdain for one another. So I'm going to mess up his name on purpose. So I'm going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself. So that way, we can start off correctly. And then however it goes after that, it goes.
That's really, really interesting because, the best part about the Bronx is it starts with BRO. After that, it just go, and you're supposed to be my bro, man. But everybody can't be from Brooklyn. I'm not mad at you. Am I glitching on your end before I jump in? Am I glitching or am I good?
Well, you froze for a second, but it's because you dissed the Bronx, so
nah,
you gotta watch it.
It's because I'm cool like that. But yeah. So my name is Attika J. Torrence. I'm a storyteller. I'm a filmmaker, a documentarian. I'm an author. I'm a children's book author. Yeah, man. I'm a creative director. Produce, create, direct, created custom content, branded content for brands. As well. I'm a storyteller, bro. Like whether it's mini docs, docu-series, feature film documentaries, short film narrative, feature film narratives, books. I'm a storyteller, and I do it myself. So that's who I am. From the heartbeat of the world, the nucleus, the center of the earth, the epicenter, Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. And yeah, man, I'm honored to speak with you today, sir. In spite of the jabs.
Well, like I stated before, I want everyone to actually know who you are. So if they see you walking down the street, they know how to get out the way. Anyway, one quick thing before we actually start. In New York City, there's 5 boroughs. The Bronx is the only borough that has "the" in front of it. So we have a distinction. So I just want to get that out the way so that way we can start off fresh. So once again, thank you for appearing on this program. We've known each other for years, many years. I've watched you do a lot of good things over the years, and I'm going to say this for the benefit of the program, but I'm proud of what you've done and what you're doing. And I want to start off first with something that is a recent project of yours, which is currently on Tubi. And the name of the program, the name of the movie is Sins of the Father. Sorry, yeah, right on the shirt. Sins of the Father. Everyone right now is currently on Tubi. So once this interview is over, or once you finally see this interview, definitely go to Tubi and watch it, and you'll definitely enjoy yourself. Now, my first question, before we get into the actual film, what got you into, or what motivated you to actually get into just the whole genre of, well, not genre, but the whole field of making movies?
Well, I initially wanted to be an actor. I entered the business as an actor. And when I realized that I needed to learn my craft, I decided to go to school. I'm from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And at the time, there was a whole energy around what Spike Lee was doing in Central Brooklyn. And there, man, listen, it was a beautiful moment from Clinton Hill, Fort Greene, to Bed-Stuy. You know, it even stretched out to other parts of Brooklyn, but Central Brooklyn specifically. There was something in the zeitgeist that Spike Lee had a lock on the community, man. And we would walk down the streets and we would bump into him and see him. We would see when he was shooting Malcolm X, when he was shooting Crooklyn. I remember he shot, they shut down Broadway so they could shoot that scene under the elevated train on Broadway. Like it was a moment. And that's when I wanted to become a filmmaker. I went to LIU because they had the Spike Lee screening room, and Spike Lee used to screen all of his dailies there. He used to have seminars and conversations there. One of the instructors there who just recently retired as the chairman of the department, name was Larry Banks. I learned under him. So I started from wanting to be an actor. Then when I decided to go to school for acting, it morphed into, well, no one's going to cast you if you've never done anything. So you need to learn how to direct. And then that morphed into, one is going to hire you to direct if you've never directed anything. So you need to learn how to write. So I was, you know, as a student, I wrote, directed, and acted in my first film right out of college. And I had approximately 13 of New York's top ground comedians right before a lot of them blew up. You know what I'm saying? I had names like Talent, Tony Roberts, Donnell Rawlins, Will Vince, Rob Stapleton, Drew Frazier, and the list goes on. You know, I had a bunch of them. Roberto Vanderpool, Sink, and that was the first film that I ever. It went on to be accepted in the American Film Festival and a few others. And yeah, man, I just started rocking as a storyteller. Then I've been a storyteller my whole life. I grew up with you. We grew up, you know, despite all of the gray in your hair, we're closer in age than it probably seems. But we grew up in the pen pal era, you know, where we weren't on those long distance calls for too long because they cost a lot of money. So we were storytellers, whether we knew it or not. We were writing letters. Whether we knew it or not, we were going to college and writing letters to girls we liked or our friends. And, you know, so we were storytellers. We were learning how to be storytellers, whether we knew it or not. I just found a way to monetize it.
That's good. I mean, I was always involved in music, so I get it from the aspect of the creation where, you know, trying to get with women and then like writing whatever, and, you know, then it turned into a craft, although I'm a writer now as opposed to a musician. But anyway, so as I stated, you have a current project now. What I'm acting like I've never done this before. What was the basis? Okay, before I say that, you're acting in it, you produced it, you directed it, you also wrote it. Like, so you've done everything, but, well, you did everything. So before we actually get into the whole synopsis of the film, did you feel you had to take on every role, or was this something that you wanted to wholly take on? Because I know I've spoken to several filmmakers over the years, and I know some people try to hone in on a particular craft, even if they can do particular ones. But since you've done everything, was it something that you set out to do, or was it something you felt you had to do because you're able to do it?
I didn't want to do it. I've done it before. I wrote, directed, acted, and produced my first movie, Brotherly Love. Talent, the comedian, played my brother. And quite honestly, I wanted Donnell Rawlins to play the character that I played. Yeah. But because he had such a DMV accent, it didn't sell as Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he was a great sport about it. He's still in the movie, but I played Talents in the movie. And my second film, Psyche, I was all ready to go, had everything ready to shoot, and actor Leon agreed to play the leading role. And then he had a scheduling conflict. And by then I had everything ready to go. I had all of my cast, all of my crew. I had all of my equipment that was donated. I had my my cameras, everything. And the only thing I didn't have because of his schedule was my leading actor. And unfortunately, I couldn't wait. So I had to jump in and I played that role. I played the leading role, right? I mean, in hindsight, I would probably do things differently. But in this particular film, when I wrote it, we shot it during COVID. So all of my friends that I could have, because, of course, the show is My Friends Are Better Than Yours. I don't know if it's the friends that's better than the guests or the guest friends better than the host, but I got some pretty dope friends. And I couldn't call on them to be in the movie because all of them were in the COVID bubble. Yeah. And what that means is there was a time when if my man was on a television show, I could ask him and say, all right, what days are you shooting? He'll say, they got me from Monday through Wednesday on the schedule. I'm off Thursday and Friday, and I'm not due back until Monday. So as a producer, I would say, all right, are you out Wednesday night or Thursday morning? I'll shoot with you Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Or maybe I'll make my weekends my week, right? And have Monday, Tuesday off. And so I can shoot Saturday. And then I can get my actors back to their set the way I needed to. But during COVID, we couldn't do that because if you left the bubble, they would quarantine you for 14 days. And it got to the point whereas they started fining actors, cast, and crew for leaving the bubble because ultimately it cost them money. So I didn't have access to a lot of the people who I wanted to play in the film. So I wound up once again having to jump in and play the lead role. But I didn't want to, for the point that you made earlier. I wanted to hone in on directing. And when you're acting and directing, you're not on the monitor watching what's happening as much as you should. So some things kind of fall in the crack and you're not touring yourself. And what you in turn start doing is trying to direct yourself in the moment instead of acting in the moment. But fortunately, because I'm experienced doing this and I had an amazing team, a skeleton team nonetheless, but I had an amazing team. We were able to, make something decent.
Okay. So let's get into the film because I watched it. And first of all, tell the people what the movie is about and why did you decide to broach that subject as well as, I guess, being like you said, since you filmed it during COVID, like if you had any difficulties or any hardships while doing so because of the COVID protocol.
Yeah. So the name of the movie is Sins of the Father. Boom. The story that I wanted to tell was one of, I wanted to tell a story that didn't have any real antagonists from just an evil perspective, right? Most antagonists are just, in many cases, are just wrongdoers. I believe life often happens in the gray, even though sometimes people see black and white. It's really some gray matter that occurs. And, I wanted there to be a reason for everybody to do what they do as opposed to somebody being a wicked person. So I told the story about a father and a daughter because a lot of people in my circles, I've heard a whole lot of stories, a bunch of stories, and they're not always as cut and dry. There's some things on social media right now where it says, get your father's side of the story. It's like a hashtag type of thing, get your father's story, right? So I just wanted to tell a story about some people that have challenges and hopefully they can make it through their challenges. It's undergirded by COVID-19 because I was watching the news and a lot of things that I was saying was mental health was spiking during COVID-19. Couples were splitting during COVID-19. Children were being forced onto the internet, children and people prior to COVID-19 walk into a medical center and fill out some documents and give your information. Now you have to go on my chart before you get there. You know what I'm saying? And then doctors rarely speak to you. You leave and then you find out their diagnosis, right? Or whatever their assessment of you. So, you know, COVID did a lot of things. There was life pre-COVID and life post-COVID. So the film talks about all of those things, how children are up in their rooms during that time, forced to quarantine, and people are forced to be online all day long. And then, you know, you have people that have access to your children because they're online all the time. It speaks to the lack of intimacy between couples because the children are home all day long. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So moments that you had that you could stay there alone, the children are home all day long. They're home up late night because nothing to do. Yeah. The parents don't really have time alone. You know, it speaks about weight during COVID. It speaks, and it's not heavy-handed with it. It's just, you know, regular old human conversations. And it's a lot of messages in it, but not just messages from the sake of, you know, that in living color message moment. It's just conversations about things that were really happening during COVID. And I wanted to shoot a movie that that, you know, elucidated those points, but at the same rate, COVID worked in our favor as well as it worked against us. It worked against us because we weren't able to get a whole lot of crew. We weren't able to get a whole lot of you know, access to a whole lot of things, but it helped us because the empties that we use cannot be duplicated. Well, we have images to start the movie of Times Square empty, Wall Street empty, Coney Island empty, you know, Lincoln Center empty. We have moments, you know, in Fort Greene Park, you know, running up the stairs, like our little ode to that, you know, Michael B. Jordan, Rocky Philly moment where we had a young lady running up the stairs at Fort Greene Park. That was empty. And because we're independent film, we don't have enough money to lock it down and get people out of there. So shooting during COVID, we had our streets empty. It was a lot easier to shoot from a crowd control perspective because there was no crowd. And we just made lemonade out of lemons, man.
That's definitely a good thing.
It was a great thing, man, because and we were able, because we did, one of the major things in shooting in New York City exteriors is you have to manage the crowd. You know, you really have to manage the crowd. You have to equipment. You don't want anybody walking off with your equipment. You don't want anybody dog walking by your equipment, urinating on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that people are faced with when you're shooting in New York City. You don't want people to say, so what? I don't care. You're shooting a movie. I don't care if Tom Cruise is there. I live on this block. You can't tell me what to do. Those are real things. Like, I got stories about shooting from the music video eras to the Law and Order days to film. Like, but we didn't have to deal with any of that. We were able to focus on action, and all we had to do. And no one got sick on our set.
That's good.
Yeah, not sick on our set, and no one got shot.
That's the most important thing, because you were shooting in Brooklyn, so
yeah. And we had guns.
That's always a possibility,
right? No, and we had guns, but we're the consummate professionals. Even like I told people all the time, because I heard someone on the phone talking to a friend of theirs, like, yeah, I can't speak right now. I'm working on this film. It's a low budget film. And then when he was done, I said, yo, I called a meeting. I said, I don't want to hear anybody else say this is a low budget film. All right. Because the budget refers to the finances. The budget doesn't refer to what's expected of you. Exactly, the budget doesn't refer to what we're trying to deliver here. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it in your mind that, yo, it's just a low budget film. It's like that's like me saying, yo, said I'll come on your little podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you just say that, but yeah, I
never said that. I never said that. But you know, but that's the thing. You don't want that in someone's mind. Like, yo, this is I'm just doing a favor, or I'm working on a low. But nah, I want us to give our all. And we had some top tier people on that project. And it came out very well.
You actually have somebody who's actually related to you on that project?
Yes, my daughter.
And was that her first time working with you? As far as talent, I mean.
No, it wasn't. So That was not our first time working with me. First time we worked together. Well, we've done a PSA together on redlining and redistricting. They cast myself and her as my daughter and another woman as my wife. My good friend Shauna Solomon, who's an amazing actor, and she also worked. I directed a segment of Sesame Street called F is for Father, and she and I are in that. You know, she's also a high level performer. Like she graduated as a high school student from the Juilliard High School Music Advancement Program. She's now a college freshman at Montclair State University, which was her first school of choice, and who has an amazing music program at the Cali Music School. So she's a high level performer. She's been performing for a long time. This is her first feature film as an actor and a executive producer, you know. But she is both of those things, and she's an executive producer because I use my own money to make this movie, and that money that I use was also money for her college savings. So we got to make sure it comes back, you know. But so you know, yeah. But we just did everything could to make it happen. I wanted to. She wanted to act. She's already had the pleasure of modeling for the iconic April Walker's Fashion Week fashion show. You know, so she's been out there working. Yeah, I gotta kill that, huh? Can you hear it?
Yeah, but I mean, you
It'll
only
stop
have
in a minute.
for a week, so
Yeah, it'll stop in a minute. No one usually calls the house phone. Yeah,
that's cool. So, what is the movie about? So that way people can have at least an idea before they go to watch it.
Yes. Oh, and also the other person with my last name, my wife is an executive producer on the project as well. So it's
Okay,
it's a family affair, you know. But the movie is really just about so it's Sins of the Father. It's a thriller in the vein of like a Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction almost. But the difference is
no bunnies.
No bunnies. Literally and figuratively, no bunnies, no snow bunnies, right? So the truth of the matter is that the tension is not between the love interests. The tension is a young lady who wants to connect with the father that doesn't even know she exists. And during COVID, she can't see her therapist. She begins to spiral out of control from a mental health perspective, and she starts her reality changes as, you know, she's composed early on, and then she loses a little bit of her composure, and so it deals with that level. And she plans a scheme of getting herself into that family, and it's not accepted very well.
Without giving away the plot or the things, it's just funny the way that like she was connected, like inadvertently, at least as a viewer is inadvertently, and then of course towards the end once you figure it out and things of that nature. So I found that intriguing, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you know it kind of makes sense. But as you're watching it, and this is what I love about like thrillers and things of that nature, where if it makes sense, then it's not that much of a surprise, or it's not that much of a thrill for my sakes. But if there's a twist or there's something that I wasn't thinking, because I'm going to try to think of it before I think the director has thought about it or whoever wrote it has thought about it. But then if I'm not on the same plane, then I'm not only more engaged, but I'm more intrigued, because then I start to wonder, okay, like how is this going to work out? Because if I'm thinking it's going to go this way and I'm going right here, and then you end up going right here, then I'm going to be like, okay, now how did you get there? So I can appreciate that aspect, because like I said, without giving out the plot or anything else, like in the way it all came together at the end, I'm like, okay, you know, it's I was like, how are we gonna get there? And it's like, okay, now I got it. So I appreciate that from the aspect of you as, you know, being your movie and the thought process behind it, because it definitely could have went in different directions. And I like that in a movie when I'm watching because I don't want to know the outcome. The only time I want to know the outcome is if I'm watching a biography of somebody I already know. If they die at the end, I know they're gonna die at the end. So it's like that's the only type of movie that I'm gonna be like, okay, the expectation. So I give it a that. Now, now, actually, this just came to mind. Since you've done all these roles, what is the most? If you had only one thing that you had to do, if you could only take one role, which would it have been and why? And not just in this movie, but just in general. Whether the director, producer, actor, like what is it that if somebody says you could only do one, what would it be and why?
That's a challenging question because
That's why I asked it.
each of each of them serve a different purpose. Um, of course, the creator is the most important role. The one who creates the project. The one who acts in it just gets an opportunity to play. The one who directs it gets an opportunity to craft it. Like, and they all, and of course the producer is the one who's just making it all happen, whether it's resources. So it's really that's like asking who's which child I like the best. You know what I'm saying? I like them all for different reasons. I don't know if I could pick one. Because I am a creative, right? I am a writer. I am a director. It's nothing that I just did, right? I am an actor. So it's difficult to just say what I would do. That's like asking Kyrie Irving, does he like dribbling more than he likes shooting? Does he laying all up more than he likes a three point? Like I, I don't. I don't know if I can give a real answer to that. I love the whole process.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Now I have a lot of questions when it comes to the actual filmmaking process, but what I want to do is I want to for you to let people know other projects you've worked on, so that way they can have reference points, so they can look up outside of sins, not outside of, including sins of the father.
Yes, I've from a film perspective, I've worked on a bunch of projects. My first film, as I mentioned earlier, was a comedy called Brotherly Love. We did that with literally a shoestring budget. That was my first project coming straight out of college with no money, just a lot of resources and a lot of exuberance and will to make it happen. I also did a short film called Psyche. I won a BET. BET did a reality show that included myself and another filmmaker named Stacy Holman, and it was a competition where you had to make a movie in 48 hours. So we had a 48-hour idea to complete. We made a movie called Dilemma, and I won that competition. I acted in a bunch of movies. I credited in Inside Man, a movie called Muslim. I produced a movie called Supermodel, starring a whole bunch of models, Cesta Lopez, Tyson Beckford, Beth Anson makes the appearance, Tatiana Ali, Mark John Jeffries, a lot of people in that. That's out as well. Most of my accolades came from Dice. I got a Television Academy Award for producing Rest in Power, the Trayvon Martin docuseries. Also got 2 Emmy nominations from that. I produced Thank You, Dr. Fauci, which is out right now. That's out independently on Thank You, Dr. Fauci movie.com, TYDF.com. A bunch of music videos, man. Came up in the late 90s working on music videos as a technician. Shucks, man, I can, if I really start thinking, I can pull up more that, that I've been, but when you've been in the business for so long, it's almost, you forget things in terms of all the stuff you've worked on. But I've worked in every form, whether it's commercials, music videos, television, episodic television, television, movies, everything. I've worked on everything from a producer, director, actor, writer perspective. It's a lot more limited. It's that those are the feature films that I've done. I directed a documentary called on Black Planet. That's out there. We was given Black Planet their credit for being the OGs of social media. You know what I'm saying? Especially the way we have like Black Twitter now, and you know how all of these dance challenge, all of that is driving social media. If we could have done that for Black Planet, you know, then maybe it won't be Zuckerberg. Maybe it'll be Omar Wasso, you know, the founder of Black Planet, you know. But hey, man, everything in its own space and time, you know. So I did a documentary on that.
I used to work there.
At Black Planet.
I worked at Black Planet at one time.
That's what's up, man. You know, and then a lot of people you know are in the documentary. Tembisa Mshaka, Chuck Creekmore, Kim Osorio, T.L. Cross, Liz Cross, a bunch of people in it. People, April Walker has images in it. People that you know. That whole "my friends are better than yours" thing. I just reached out to people and got them in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Tuma Basa is in it. A whole bunch of people.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you this because I know a lot of people, a lot of directors, or just people in general in the movie, have actually got to start doing. Is that a typical route? Because I mean, because of the people that I've known that have done it and moved on to become movie directors, like, is that like standard? I know it's not standard, but from your point of view, is that something that can prepare you for the bigger picture, or is it two different routes?
There's absolutely no such thing as standard in this industry as it relates to breaking in, right? There's no one way to skin this cat, right? Now, I believe that everything you do is a link in the chain, and it takes the whole chain to pull you where you need to be. So everything you do is one link in that chain, and as they say, you're as strong as your weakest link, right? So if you came in the game directing music videos, you're a storyteller, you're a visual person. Like, I believe, like, if you take some of the well-known music video directors, they came from different spaces. Some of them came from set design, some of them came from photography, someone came, like Benny Boom was an assistant director. I believe X was a sound person or something like that. You know, I could have that wrong. You know, like, you have different sensibilities. The truth of the matter is you bring your sensibilities to you find a way to make it on par transition, as opposed to, you don't transition down. Hey, well, because I was a photographer and I want to go into film, I got to start at the bottom. No, you find where you transition over, and you're so transferable. So you can come from commercials, you can come, like, but you can often, you know, tell what the sensibilities are of the filmmaker. You can tell if they're a post-production guy, they came from editing, because some people, editors are basically our like lab engineers of the film business. They stay in the lab, right? But you can tell someone has come out of the lab to set. You know what I'm saying? Now, what they lack in set awareness, set protocol, working with actors, working with crew members, they're more effective often in their shot selection because they're looking at it from an editor's perspective. Yeah. They're looking at it, they know exactly what they need to get this shot, right? They don't need to take 4, 5, 6 times. They're not even going to use all of that. They know what they need. So they're efficient there. There are some other people who have come from, who like Regina King was an actor first. Now she's a director. So, or someone like Debbie Allen, who was an actor and then moved in front of, you know, behind the camera. Those are people who understand how to get the best performances, and they're going to do everything it takes to get the best performance. If they got to do it 10 times, like, you know, you see Debbie Allen in Fame, or some of her videos of her videos, she is that perfection, like get it right. Like, so her thing may be a performance, and I don't know this for a fact. I'm just using this as an example. Their things may be performance based. They know how to talk to actors. They know how to get the best thing out of actors. And, you know, that's a different skill set. A photographer knows how to make it beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a fashion photographer. He knows how to make it beautiful, or she knows how to make it beautiful. They're going to get some beautiful people on the screen. They're going to give you some set design in the background. You know, they're going to give you, you know, some stuff that, you know, some foreground elements that go from blur, you know, go from out of focus to in focus. They're going to do all that thing because their eye is that of a photographer's, right? They're going to give you those rack focuses. And, you know, and then you have some people who are directors and they came from being a cinematographer, like Ernest Dickerson. Ernest Dickerson came from being a cinematographer, and his sensibilities is about lighting, composition, framing, camera movement, things of that nature. So he's going to make a dynamic film visually because he understands it. So I'm saying that to say everything you do is transferable if you recognize it as a transferable skill. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But like I said, because I know that everyone has a different entry point. But I know that I guess based on the people that I know personally, I know a lot has started like in the video realm. But it also could be because well, when we were coming up, videos was just coming up in such a way where there was definitely more video work than there was movie and TV work because of the amount of acts at the time, particularly in hip hop, because you might have like 2 labels now when back then you had about 140, and that was just in Brooklyn itself. So
yeah,
and I know that a lot of people did that.
That's your perspective because you also dabbled in the music industry, right?
Exactly.
Because
that's what. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah. So for those
exactly.
people that came from like the editing space or post-production space, they know a lot of people that came from post-production. From those that came from the photography space, photographers, they know a lot of people from that space. But the truth of the matter is, there was a prejudice against music videos at the time. The unions didn't even want to be. They didn't want to be a part of music video world because it was kind of like a bastard offshoot of real cinema, right? So they didn't even want to be a part of it. The unions didn't even want. The unions didn't care about what we were doing and what was being done before I got there. I got there in the 90s, 96, 97, 98. So a lot of the stuff that people are doing now, we helped create those things. Like there's something called like a Russian arm, right? And it's a crane on top of a car that when a car is driving, the crane can move and pick up driving shots. Well, before there was a Russian arm, there were 2 whips on the back of a flatbed truck operating a crane, and you know it wasn't robotic. And my man and I or somebody else have done it. We've done all of those things. Like when you consider some of the things that we did in music videos before, there was what's called the slider. Now everything, the only way you could move was really on a dolly, or if you could make your own dolly, you would have people leaning back in a hand truck or sitting in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways we did it, but now it's all evolved. And what I'm saying that to say, the unions wanted nothing to do with it. But then you insert a moment in hip hop R&B where Busta Rhymes said, "I need this $2 million video because it's me and Janet Jackson and it's Terminator and it's Hype Williams." And then it changed the game. And then people are like, yo, them little and I'm saying bastards of the film industry, right? The little bastards of the film industry are really growing up to be official industry. So now the unions want to come and say all those guys who helped create and who did those things with a lack of money and a lack of technology, all they had was an abundance of creativity, an abundance of will, an abundance of brilliance to make things happen. Like before there was a circular light, we used to put bulbs in what's called B-board. It's like styrofoam bulbs in it because that's when cats started wearing shades a lot. And then you would see the reflection of stuff in the shades. So they wanted a circular pattern. And sometimes they have straight bulbs in it, right? But now from what we used to do, we used to create those, put a bunch of like 20 different bulbs in a circle. Now they have what's called a ring light, where everybody got a ring light now. We created those things. Wanted to do that, right? Nobody, the union didn't want to deal with that. Once the people like Ralph McDaniels and Lionel Martin and you know all these folks, that even Spike Lee is an amazing music video director. Like all the things that folks was doing back then, the unions saw us and was like, yo, we can get some of that money. Then unions started tapping into it, and then brands started tapping into it, because we were making songs that was from the beginning of Dawn. We were talking about, you know, you go back to Sugar Hill Gang, you know, I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. You know, we talking about, you know, our Lincoln Continental and, you know, a Cadillac. You know, we were talking about brands back then. Special Ed, I Got It Made, one of the most historic floss songs of all times. You know what I'm saying? This dude is just talking about what he got from the beginning of the song to the end. But you talking about flossing, brands caught on to that. So not only the unions caught on to that, brands caught on to that. You know what I'm saying? And then when you take a movie like Rocky 3 with James Brown, they pulled a music video out of the actual movie, Living in America. You know what I'm saying? So now we have this big old grandiose music video, and now people want to emulate that. It became times where, you know, music videos started leading the game. So our music video directors now, and then we also had the ear of the most popping talent in the world. So now that's why Hype Williams can go say, hey, I want to do a movie with Nas and DMX and, you know, this person and that person, and, you know what I'm saying? It's John Singleton, all of John Singleton. Well, there was a time when movies had a formula. It had to have 2 platinum selling artists in the movie and 5 on the soundtrack, right? That was the formula. So when you look at movies like Baby Boy, you saying, when you have Tyrese in it, and I think Snoop was in it, right? There's your 2. You look at movies like Brown Sugar, you got like Mos Def and Latifah. You know what I'm saying? You look at certain movies, in order for it to be what's considered a black movie, it either had to have that formula or the ensemble. And an ensemble is a bunch of black folks. You know what I'm saying? That's where a lot of those comedies came from. That's like a movie like Soul Food, right? A movie like Soul Food had an ensemble. But the other movies like Friday, you know, all of the other black movies, you know, they had to have 2 platinum selling in the movie and 5 on the soundtrack. So who better with those relationships than the music video directors? Right. And not only that, they spoke the same language, they wore the same clothes. And those video directors didn't see those artists as, you know, just talent. Like in the cinema world, artists' talent don't get to speak in certain circles. Right. But when you was on a film set and you get to see Benny Boone speaking with Busta Rhymes, they became homies. Right. When you get to see like certain directors speaking to, like when Fly Kai did Akon's video that I also made a cameo in, Locked Up, Akon's first video. Shameless plug, my man Fly Kai. But you know, the way they interact, because they knew each other, you know what I'm saying? And to get the certain type of performance and out of them. I was also in a movie called Coalition where I played Raekwon's brother. You know, it was Raekwon, the chef, Power, and a whole bunch of people, Chuck Zito, Michael Wright. I acted in that movie. But that's just going to show you how hip hop transcended. So it only makes sense. The hip hop music video directors became filmmakers, whether it's like I said, Little Activity Booms, Dave Myers, Chris Robinson, Tim Stories, all of those guys, of course, Hype, you know, but they were looked down upon early on. They were them little kids over there doing their little rappity rap, hippity hop stuff.
Until they started controlling the game from that aspect, particularly with hip hop artists at a time when hip hop artists were like on the same level as some A-list actors.
Hip hop and R&B. Yo, DMX. Yo, I went to LA and DMX had half of the top floor of the Westin in Hollywood because he was in a movie. Ain't no way he's in that whole room. But there was a guard that no one could get. When you come off the elevator, you could only walk left. You can't walk right. DMX had that locked down. You know what I'm saying? Like, this became, you know, and it wasn't just hip hop. It was R&B too. And it was hip hop, it was R&B, and then it was hip hop R&B.
Yeah.
Right. And I say those three to be different because there was hip hop who people were just strict hip hop. Then there was R&B, and then you had people who came in the game at a certain time. It became hip hop R&B, and all of those folks became big deals. Like there's a reason why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame keeps tapping into R&B and hip hop folks, because without R&B and hip hop folks, they would die. The Hip Hop Hall of Fame would be an obsolete space. Why is B. Smalls and Jermaine Dupri and Whitney Houston, why are they in the hip hop and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They're in it because without them, that entire industry, because they're not giving it to the black people who are really running it, they're still making it seem like Aerosmith and Kiss and those guys are still the apotheosis of the industry, right? So without that, without us, that's another industry that tanks. We keep definitely bolstering these industries, and we did the same with the film industry.
That's always a good thing. So as far as you're concerned, what is the most important aspect of filmmaking for you in general?
The message.
Okay.
What are you saying? Say what?
I wasn't expecting that, but okay, I get that.
Yeah. And
sense.
there's a through line to hip hop there too, the message, right? So what are you saying? Why do you need to say it? Who needs to hear it? You know, who's the audience? These are the things that you think about. Where is it coming from? Why is there a need for it to come out of you? Because again, I'm a creator. I'm not an actor only. I'm not a director only. I'm not waiting for someone to give me a script and I'm directing it because, you know, A, I need the bread, or B, because it would be a great opportunity to work with this actress or actor. No, I'm creating these. Like, I'm coming at a different space. I'm writing these. I'm sitting in my house behind a computer writing these things. So why am I writing it? It's because of what needs to be told in this moment. When I think of Sins of the Father, I'm thinking about, you know, during COVID, our children were up in the rooms on their phone, and people started tapping into our children's cell phones, and we didn't even know it. We had a stranger in our house, and we didn't even know it because they were on the phone. You know what I'm saying? We were in relationships with people that we really couldn't. We didn't have any time to be. You know, one of the people in the relationship was going through a depression because of what we were going through, and the other person was taking it for granted. Like, yo, I'm gonna just go work out. I'm gonna go for a walk. If I can get over it, you can get over it. Like, our children ain't going through nothing. Like, they are. You know, these are the things. So I'm looking at it, and we all learned about Zoom during COVID, right? We learned how to get on Zoom, and I always had this notion. You know what I went through to cut class, Cedric? Like, if all I had to do was close my screen, I would have never went to school. Like, I had to get through a gate. I had to get through a door. I had to make sure I was covered for this period. I had to do so much to skip school and not get caught. And then I had to dodge the truants and all of this stuff. If all I had to do was close my laptop, I would have never went to class. Right?
Yep.
So
or not sign in, let alone close the laptop.
Right. So, and then the way these children's brain works now, these children have equalizers. They have mixers in there. They have like 8 to 16 track mixers in brain. It's like, I can listen to music. I can be on my phone. I can respond to my parents. I can watch this television show, all at the same damn time. And for parents like us who grew up in a moment where in order for us to study, we had to have everything off. We don't understand how they move, because we're like, yo, why you got the music on? Why are your headphones on if you're doing homework? Why are you, like, it's crazy. But these children are different. They have like 8-track, 16-track mixers in their brain, and they know how to.
Well, 32 now.
Maybe even more, right?
32 track.
And I don't even know if that's for the better or, I just know that there are times I'm talking to my daughter and it seems like she's doing 10 different things. And then I ask her if she got it. And she's like, yeah, I understand what you said. This is what you said. Boom, 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 boom. And she gets it.
But I also find that the funny thing is that with access to so much, the desire to be hungry isn't as it was when we were younger. Because I used to do music. So at that time, as a producer, you had to get the reel, book studio time. There was so many different steps and money you had to take in order to get to the process of getting to the studio, not even recording it. Exactly. Nowadays, all you need is a phone. You can make a video, literally edit it on the phone, and within an hour, it can be on Spotify, it can be on YouTube, and it's like it's just crazy where it's like it's admirable because of course now you can get to use your creativity, but at the same time, it's so easy for people where they can't appreciate the work put into something. Because when I first started doing my website over 20 years ago, I actually had to code it. I had to go in HTML, put certain codes and things of that nature, spend an hour and a half on a 2-paragraph story, 2 hours to put up an article, where nowadays it's cut and paste, put it in the back of the back end of the site, hit publish, and it's done within 5 minutes. So
yeah,
from that aspect, I got it from our parents saying to us, like they had to walk miles to school where we took the bus or took a train. So like it's that, for me, that's the analogy. Our parents used to say we had to walk 2 miles to school, and you get on the bus and you can take that bus 15 miles and be there in 15 minutes. Same thing with technology today, where it's like we can have a conversation and see each other without leaving our house.
Yeah, it's the optimization of creativity, right? So
Yeah.
we've optimized it, and it's crazy because I still, whenever I feel like I'm not doing enough, I think about, or when I think about, maybe I've done enough, I think about the story of Frederick Douglass's mother walking to see him every night and then leaving in the morning before break of dawn so she could hit the fields, right? I listened to some of the stories my parents told me, or my grandmother who was passed away at 90 years old, and she was still employed, not because she needed the money at all, you know what I'm saying? But she just enjoyed going to work. It's not something that I want to do, but I want to be able to transfer that over, into the things I want to do. Yeah. Fortunately for me, I found what I love to do. I'm a storyteller. I'm an artist, and I don't ever see me stopping. I found what I want to do. And sometimes when I feel like I need, to work, I get up and I work. But in terms of what made me have to tell this, is something inside of me that I see things in a different way than many people see them. I see things as stories. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if they're interesting enough to tell it. I just had a situation where I went to a good friend of mine funeral and something there, and that turned into a screenplay that I'm writing. I experienced something with a friend of my family. His daughter had a challenging situation. Somebody gave her a gummy, and it had a negative effect on her. Fortunately, she's fine, but it had a momentary negative effect on her. And I wrote a screenplay about that. So I see things in life, and I see where the story is, because I think life imitates art, but I also think art imitates life. Definitely. I think that the two are like Siamese twins. You know what I'm saying? They're joined, art and life, and for artists. And I also believe that the root word of heart is art. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's pumping through us if you're an artist. And that's what motivates me to tell stories. I tell stories because of the message, and I tell stories that I believe can help ameliorate someone or help in the situations that they're in.
Definitely. I mean, even me as a writer, I have some friends who actually went on to become screenwriters and movie writers, and it's like there's always a way to take advantage of your creativity. And as you stated, there's things around us where we can be motivated to do. Because even with when out singing, I mean, having a broken heart or not getting the girl you wanted or things of that nature, as a musician, it's like so many different things. And I'm glad that we as humans, when we want to create something, we can use what's around us, because some people have to be encouraged to do things, especially in technical fields. Like, a doctor can't just operate just because they feel like operating. There's techniques and things that need to be done. When you're creative, you can find a way and then learn how to utilize whatever technology you have to your advantage, as opposed to, I liken it to when, like, and I use Eddie Murphy as an example because even when he wasn't really a comedian, he was just somebody who was funny, then became an actor, and he didn't know how to act, but became a great actor. Where back then, actors that trained were mad that he was getting film deals and things of that nature because of his ability to act, as opposed to being trained to act. So I see that in basically anything that has to do with creation, or, as you stated, art.
But that's everything, right? Because the people have a like a solipsistic connection. There's a selfish connection to what they do. And because they have gone through a certain level of it, they believe that you shouldn't be able to do this. I mean, I don't care. We can take it from the block to the boardroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you walk in somebody's park and you put up a few shots and they go straight in, somebody is going to walk up and say, put your sneakers on, let's play one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to show you that in this park, it's about me. Like, before Eddie Murphy, Jimmy Walker went through that because he was a comedian. And John Amos and Esther Rolle were actors. So they would yell, cut. And Jimmy Walker would go, and then the pay that they were making through the television show, all they could make money with is acting. After they stopped acting, exactly. Jimmy Walker went on stage and made some money.
On stage, yep.
In the same way with Eddie Murphy. But there's a reason why comedians in many cases make our best actors. There's a reason why, like a Tom Hanks or an Eddie Murphy or Whoopi Goldberg, and the reason is, no matter what occurs in their life, they got to get on stage and they got to deliver. They don't get to not, and I'm talking, gets on stage as much as a stand-up comedian in New York City specifically. Like, you got 5 comedy spots within 2 blocks of each other. You got the Comedy Cellar, you got Cafe Wa, you got under Village, like, you can be on stage, Boston Comedy Club, like you can
in the Village,
right? Yeah. So you can walk from room to room and get on stage in 5 different spots and workshop what needs to be done. I don't care if you're menstruating. I don't care if you're going through if you got a toothache. I don't care if you're pregnant at the moment. I don't care if you got to pay child support. If you just got off of a plane that was late, all you're doing is sitting on that plane looking for material. If you're menstruating and you got to perform, you're thinking, I'm in pain, but I just got some new material. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you toothache and you got to perform, and that's why comedians in many cases, their training is just so optimum when it comes time to act, and they're willing. They don't have the same egos that actors have. Like, actors in many cases don't want to make of themselves. You know what I'm saying? Comedians are used to performing in rooms with 3 people in there, 12 people in there, in the backyard, country, whatever. They've been through it all. So when it comes time for them to hit the stage, it's like, yo, give me everything you got. And they act so well. Some actors will be some actors would be like, wait, Cedric, you were supposed to say that line, and then I was supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never said that line, so I never went. Like, nah, bro, you got to learn. This is double dutch. You gotta jump in and get it popping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so comedians are very good from that perspective, man. And the same in the same with they went through it. Hip hop artists went through it because hip hop artists, people felt like hip hop artists was cutting the line, but film has always been nothing but a movie is a commercial, right? It's a 2 hour commercial. The question is, what are they selling, right? And if they're selling, depending on what they're selling, they always would get Dorothy Dandridge, they would get Raquel Welch, they would get Marilyn Monroe, they would get the beautiful people to sell those things, right? You know, you got rappers in movies for a reason. You know, the music industry, I mean, the film industry realized that Beyonce has more fans than Kerry Washington. Yeah. Right? So we're going to go with Beyonce instead of Kerry Washington. Yeah. So Jill Scott has more fans than this person. We're going to go with Jill Scott. You know what I'm saying? So it's a business, bro. Like,
yeah, definitely.
The same with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is in Space Jam, not because he's a great actor, but because he's Michael Jordan. And he has more fans than probably at the time Denzel Washington.
The world.
Right. So that's why we're going to go with Michael Jordan. And I mean, I think it's challenging for those who are really waiting to be called. You know what I'm saying? But for those who are out here creating, they use it, and like I said, a comedian, Kevin Hart, can go on stage and perform 5 nights a week and not even have a movie and still make money. There's some people that need to get out there, so they feel really protected of the space that they've created, and they want to protect what they have. And that's why you hear Black American actors talking to Black British actors. And, to some, there is some truth to it from an acting perspective, but from a business perspective, the business people don't care. Yeah.
It's all about the money at the end of the day.
Yeah, from an acting perspective, I want somebody from the Bronx to play the lead in a movie called Brooklyn's Finest. I wouldn't want somebody from the Bronx to play the lead in a movie called Brooklyn Finest. Matter of fact, I was watching the Central Park 5, Ava DuVernay's joint. And if I remember correctly, the whole movie started, I believe, with the song "I Got It Made." And I thought to myself, clearly Ava is not from Harlem or Brooklyn, because that was a Harlem story back in I think it was 1989. I would have started that. Yeah. I would have started that with a Harlem song. You know what I'm saying? Dougie Fresh or something like that at the time, because it's just more true to form. It's not a bad thing because it was still a popping song at the time. But if I'm not mistaken, whatever the song was, it was a Brooklyn song. I think it was "I Got It Made." It was either "I Got It Made" or "Top Billin'." I think it was "I Got It Made." But those are the nuances that, actors take personal. You know what I'm saying? And if that British person doesn't understand the plight of a Black man in Jim Crow, why is that British person getting a role? But, I understand it. I don't always agree with it, but I understand where it's coming from. And it's the same in hip hop. It's the same in R&B. It's modeling. It's the same in everything.
Listen, Idris Elba did a great job on The Wire. And when I heard his real accents, I was like, wow. Like, for him to play a Baltimore drug dealer in the way that he did, and he's never even set foot in Baltimore, is amazing in itself. So you're right. Sometimes it's just, you got to go with what's best for the situation. Because I could have been in Baltimore, know the streets, but I might not have put on the performance that he put on.
Yeah, but you also, so a Baltimore actor who is, let's say they're neck and neck with Idris, but Idris got edge on him, and Idris gets that part. A Baltimore actor may feel some kind of way, and I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I'm going to tell you why. Because Idris' accent wasn't a Baltimore accent. It was it had no nuance as it relates to vernacular.
No slang, nothing, yeah.
Right. As it relates to vernacular and abilities. At the same rate, the majority of the world ain't from Baltimore.
Yeah.
The majority of the world is going to watch it, don't damn. But it's that, like I said, it's that solipsistic connection to the things that we have that we want to hold on to, that makes it. But I think there's a space for everybody, and there's time for everybody, and you just gotta keep on pushing.
But using that example, I think it worked because he played a different type of Baltimore character. Like he wasn't playing the street. Like he wasn't playing the street characters. Because if he's playing the street characters, there's no way he could have pulled it off. So I guess like there's nuances and things when you make those type of decisions. So then we've been down over an hour. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let me take it off of the actual like technical things in filmmaking. I want to talk about your company, At the Top Publishing, because I know that that's your company. That's the umbrella for everything that you're doing as an author, filmmaker, speaker, whatever it is you're doing. What prompted you to start At the Top Publishing? And as you stated, I know you have The Adventures of Young Addie, A Brother's Love. I see you correlated the first film and the book, Brother's Love and things of that nature. Anyway, or maybe that's just an observation that I made. But like, what is the purpose of At the Top Publishing, and what is in the works going forward?
The purpose of At the Top Publishing is really just for us, by us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's me doing everything I can to do everything I need to do to take care of my own, to take care of create. I've had challenges getting others to finance my projects. I had challenges getting other people to edit my projects. I've had challenges getting other people to distribute my projects. So I just said, I'm gonna do it myself, man. You know what I'm saying? I created my publishing company. I created my first book and I published it. I created my second book and I published it. And since publishing is a big deal, I kept it at the top from a film perspective as well. What's coming next is my second children's book is being illustrated. It should be done probably sometime this fall, July to August. My second novel is coming. That one is called Campus Life. And it's about my time in college. It's my version of school days. And my second children's book is The Adventures of Young Addie. And that one is called The Watermelon Man. And it's about the first one, A Brother's Love, is about a relationship between siblings. This one is about the relationship and the importance of a father's relationship with his son. And I'm just pulling from real spaces, creating real stories, creating stories that I want to see. And right now we have an attack on literature, attack on Black literature, attack on, they're taking Maya Angelou books and Zora Neale Hurston books out of colleges and stuff, man. And that's not going to stop me. Again, what's that thing that's burning inside you that make you want to tell this story? I want young Black boys to see themselves, but not just, this is not a Black story. This is a human story. It just so happened to have Black people in it. And I'm about to, I just got a pack today that I'm about to open up, and I'm going to show you the book right now. But yeah, man, this is a human story. This is about a brother's love. And it's really a love story between siblings, you know what I'm saying? And how important a sibling, an older sibling, can be to a younger sibling in terms of helping him build his confidence. This is one continuous picture. It's really a family beach day, and cut in half. There's a front cover and then the back cover, you know what I'm saying, or the back cover and then the front cover. But this is The Adventures of Young Addie. Also, we have Brooklyn Bread. It's right here, and I'm not gonna stop. Said I found what I love to do, brother. And I love telling stories. I love creating stories. And I love telling stories that, once again, that can ameliorate the reader, that can help the viewer in something that they're through. And this book right here has also become a book in schools for water safety, and water education, because approximately 10 people a day drown in the United States of America. Approximately 60% of those 10 people are people of color. And that doesn't include water injuries. That includes drowning deaths. So you add water injuries and it's more. And it's some beautiful artwork in the book, man. We're talking about swimming. We're talking about currents. We're talking about situational awareness. We're talking about the buddy system. Talking about so many different things about water safety and water education, that it's really just a great opportunity for people to read and see some amazing artwork done by the amazing Tiffany Golden, the illustrator. And yeah, man, these all can be purchased directly through me, through my DMs, and also through my website at thetoppublishing.ai.
I'm gonna tell you, it's funny because I'm looking at my computer now, because I'm about to say, as you already know, because it was you. I featured you on Black Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, almost 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you had just started at the Top Publishing. Mm-hmm. And as I'm going through the article, I asked you, as many creative people do, you've branched out and created your own publishing company. Why did you do so, and what should we anticipate from this entity? You responded, I've always lived in the world of create your own. Everybody doesn't get your vision, and they're not supposed to. Also, the way business works, people want to make a killing off your work talent. If you figure out the way to make the lion's share of profit from your work, I can't read, then you're winning in the game. My goal was to create a company that can publish the works I create. As a new novelist, I wasn't trying to hit the pennies on the dollar that publishing companies want to pay for your work. So it's funny that it's kind of like almost a full circle moment, that 5 years later, what you put in fruition is not only expanding, but elevating. So I want to definitely congratulate you on that aspect, because a lot of people, a lot of people don't really, they pursue their dreams, but they don't really get to their goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to acknowledge that. When I was looking at it, I was like, I got to bring it up, because literally 5 years later, and I'm not really thinking about it, because we've known each other for so long, where it's I'm not thinking about the little intricacies of things of that nature. You're doing your thing. I see it. But then, like I said, I was like, oh, wow. Okay, I like that, because everybody has a goal, but, some people never get to it. Sometimes because it just doesn't happen. But when people set out to do it and actually get to the goal, or getting close to the goal, I always give props, because I know how it is, because I have goals. I was supposed to be the richest young person ever. Obviously, that's never going to happen. But that's us. I just want to acknowledge, because like I said, as I was looking at the article, I was like, I can appreciate that. I still don't like you, but I can appreciate the determination and the elevation that you've placed forth for not only yourself, but for your family as well, because you've including your family in the work that you do. And I'm pretty sure that there's so much more to come. And I definitely do appreciate you taking the time to, discuss it a little. So
yeah, thank you, man. It's really important to say yes to yourself. You know what I'm saying? If I think something, I do it. I don't talk myself out of it, because it's easy to say no to yourself. It's easy to talk yourself out of things. It's easy to say, well, I'm not that, or I'm not this, or I'm not. But it's another level of confidence and pride when you say yes to yourself, when you think it and do it. I wasn't an author before 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I never wrote a children's book before last year. You know what I'm saying? This particular film, Sins of the Father, I funded it myself. I wrote it myself. I produced it myself. And the other thing is, I've done it for so long for so many other people, and has done some good work, that I knew I could do it. Like my books, I was a creative director on the imagery. You know what I'm saying? All of the things. I created this book. This book is more horizontal. It's shaped like a film frame, and that's done intentionally. I'm a filmmaker. It's not shaped, portrait. It's landscape, and it's going to be an animated an animated show. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal. I'm going to make it into a cartoon. I just say yes to myself, brother. I think it and I do it, and I know I'm capable. And if I'm not capable, I'm 1 degree away from connecting with someone who can help me make it happen. Whether that's an illustrator, whether that's someone who formats books, whether that's someone who prints it. Now I can't do everything, but I know I'm resourceful enough and savvy enough to find out who and where we can get it done. You know, and that you know, I love you reading that excerpt from our last article, because all of that is true to form, you know, and I didn't get on here and contradict myself 5 years later. You know what I'm saying? So,
I was waiting for that. Now let me stop.
yeah, it's for us, by us all the time, man. And my books are not on Amazon, and there's a reason my books aren't on Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Fortunately for me, I've been able to lock into the school system. I've been selling my books by the hundreds to the school system, you know, and I don't have anything against Amazon or people who have their books on Amazon, but I also, there will be a time that my books should go on Amazon. Just right now, that, you know, I want to control the outlet and the price and everything. And if someone else gets to dictate how much I should sell my book for, then they get to dictate how much I have to sell them for. Because right now, if I have on my website, my books are $20, someone go to Amazon.com and they're $6.99, guess who's going to get that sale? Right?
Yeah.
So when you consider the movie, thank you, drfauci.com, tydfmovie.com, that movie is for sale on an independent site. You know, it's not on streamers yet, and it will go on streamers eventually, but you get the lion's share of it early on. And yeah, that's what it is.
Everything else is gravy after that. But I do appreciate your time. I don't want to take up too much of it. Actually, I'm just really getting sick of you. Let me stop. Is there anything that that you're working on, that you're about to work on, that you'd like to discuss? If not, I understand. But is there anything that is on the horizon that you're looking forward to, that is putting a smile in your heart because you know that when you do it, it's going to be a great thing?
Yes, the sequel to A Brother's Love is coming. Well, not a sequel, another version of The Adventures of Young Addie is coming, and we already have the cover art for that, and the rest of the art is coming. At the same time, the second version of Brooklyn Bread is coming. This is called Brooklyn Bread Campus Life, and this is that I'm excited about that. Like I say, I have a couple of screenplays in the work. Sins of the Father right now is on Tubi. I need everybody to watch it. There are 3 things I'm requesting. I'm requesting you watch it, you like it, as in actually like it with the like button, and you share it. And because this is an independent process, I remember how we all came together and going to the movie to watch Black Panther, how that was a thing. And people was like, oh, it's a black movie. It's a black movie. My thing is, yeah, they employ black people, but that's a Disney movie.
Exactly.
Right? Now, it's no hate. I loved it. A lot of my peoples were in it, right? I loved it. I love to see black people coming together and supporting and tapping into their own inner T'Challas and you know, Wakanda, right? And one of the things I noticed is with Sinners is reviving the movie going experience, because we kind of lost that for a while due to streamers. But still, Sinners was not, it's not a Ryan Coogler movie because it has a production house. Yeah. It's Ryan Coogler because he wrote it, produced it, directed, and did an amazing job of all of those things. When you have a project like Sins of the Father, where I'm the production company, I'm the writer, I'm the director, I'm the producer, I'm the actor, like those films have $50 million marketing and advertising budgets. I'm taking it back to when word of mouth was the thing, right? Where we had to tell a friend, watch that movie. And it's, you know, my goal, and I'm not saying I won't do it, but my goal is not to make studio films. I mean, I'm sorry, let me say that differently.
That's not the priority.
My priority is not to make studio films. My priority is to make films that I know resonate with my people and to continue doing it. And the only way I can do it is if my people support it. And the way you can support it, Tubi is free. You can watch it, you can like it, and you can share it. Tubi is free. I'm not asking for any of your money. It's not an Indiegogo, a Kickstarter, a crowdfunding campaign for it. You know, now if you have some money and you think that I'm a good enough filmmaker and you want to invest in my next project, we can do that. But I'm not asking you for money. I'm asking you to like it, to watch it, to like it, and share it. And I need everybody to do that. And then my next movie that I have a couple of scripts written will be able to come out because we were able to do enough numbers to whereas I made enough money that I can reinvest it, because my goal is not to, one of the people who got the best model in the business, whether you love his films or not, Tyler Perry has the best model in the business. You know what I'm saying? He creates his movies, he puts them, he directs them, he gets them out, and he let the distributors distribute them, right? That's the model that I think is the most helpful, because you maintain the autonomy. One of the other best things about Tyler Perry is he speaks to his audience. You ain't got to like his movie, but his audience loves him. So the goal is to find your tribe, speak to your audience, and let your tribe and your audience support you. So please watch Sins of the Father on Tubi, like it, and share it.
Cool. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's your social media or contact info?
Other than what's on the screen?
Yeah. If there's anything else, I mean.
Nah, I'm joking. So I'm everywhere. Everywhere is Attika J Torrence. I'm literally Attika J Torrence on Instagram, Facebook. Um, my my website is attikajtorrence.com. You know, and yeah, you can reach me there. You can DM me if you want books. You know, if you want to support the film, if you want to just tell me how the film resonates with you. Like, I've gotten on some Zooms with some people, and it's very interesting, their takes on the film. A lot of people want a part two, you know what I'm saying, to find out what happened. I sit on Zooms often. I do speaking engagements with my books with children. And yeah, all my Instagram everywhere is Attika J Torrence. Instagram, social media, Facebook, Threads, everywhere.
Yeah, I would be interested to see like what's the like continuation of Sins of the Father, to see what happens, because I'm pretty sure it can go in so many different directions, you know, based on how it ended. So, like I said, without giving anything away, but I encourage everyone to definitely see it. And it probably would have been a much better movie if I was in it, but you know, let me stop.
No, it's cool. I mean, but you already got your leading role. I mean, everybody done seen Head Detective.
Watch your mouth.
Everybody done seen Head Detective in Living Color. You know what I'm saying? We done seen that. You had your shine. Let other people shine.
Oh man.
And for the younger folks watching this, Google In Living Color Head Detective.
I'm looking at the hands, you know.
The feet.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks once again for your time, and definitely good luck with any and everything that you're doing in the future. And as I stated, you know, you've been doing your thing, and I know that you're only going to do more and do better. And I don't have to speak to you anymore now. Let me stop. And just like I was there to help promote what you were doing 5 years ago, whether it's 5 months, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 5 years, like I said, if it's needed, I will be there. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that, you know, you'll have a much bigger following and so much more to do, where you might be like, Big said who? No, let me stop. But but I definitely, like I said, appreciate your work. I hate to say this, your friendship. I wonder if Tammy Ford would ever hear that, what she would say.
That's the sis. But yo, man, I appreciate you, man, and you know, you have been a mainstay in so many different aspects of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
you say,
because they can't
say
get rid
what?
of me. Like, they can't get rid of me. Nobody stop.
Well, you know, and it's funny because it's one of them situations where even if someone somehow, some way were to get rid of you, is when we really recognize your input, your value, and your contribution to so many things that have been done. And yeah, man, I just want to say thank you for doing what you do for so long, and how you do it with a certain level of integrity and professionalism. Um, you know, I wish you were a little more handsome, but you
I
know.
know it hurts you to say. I know it hurts you to say professionalism because you know.
Nah, it doesn't. It doesn't, because you know you got to give credit where credit is due, man. All jokes aside, man, I do appreciate all that you. And then some people won't even know, and I don't even know everything you've done. And I'm saying that because I know what I've done, and there's some people that know me that don't. It doesn't even scratch the surface. You know what I'm saying? And so I know how, in order to to have the staying power that you have had and touched so many people and be in so many different rooms, it's you know, it's admirable on levels that all I can do is say thank you, and I'm grateful. And you know, keep on doing it, bro. Keep on doing it. You're one of one when it comes to, you know, this industry cosign and the things you do, man.
That could be a bad thing too, but nah, thanks. I appreciate that. But as I said, I appreciate, and like I said, for this specific platform, my friends are better than yours. This is the reason why I do it, because like we help each other out when it comes to, you know, letting people know, like, and the thing is, I tell people all the time, when it comes to this, I don't care about what I do when it comes to this, because it's about the person I'm speaking to or I'm speaking with. So that way other people can become abreast of what it is or who Attika is. So that way, like I said, we all can grow, because, you know, a bigger audience for everybody, because we all have something that the world needs, not want, but need, because, you know, we bring something to it. So I'm gonna do my part. And like I said, as long as you continue doing your part, you know, we'll be on the same page. And the only bad part is that you're from Brooklyn, but I can overlook that. So, you know. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna end it before, like, you know, I mess it up.
You good, brother, because I know what it is. It's like, it's, you know, it's like when when a gnat just keep flying around you. It's just like, yo, you just brush that off, man. We all know what it is, bro. We know, I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like, we talking about Fat Joe versus Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z, right? Like, what are we talking about? Like, we're talking
Don't do
about,
that. Don't do that.
let me stop. I'm not going to keep going. But what are we really talking about, bro? Like, come on. Like, I mean, you know, I love the Bronx in context, right? I mean, there's a reason hyenas are on the earth, right?
Oh,
There's a
gosh.
place for hyenas, right? You got your lions, and then you got your hyenas. Like, there's a place for hyenas. I think hyenas serve the ecosystem well. We need the Bronx because New York needs a commode.
That's Queens. That's Queens, by the way. But anyway,
That's actually Jersey.
well, Jersey is a part of New York, so it doesn't matter. So
Yeah, well, I don't know. That $20 toll say different.
I know. And then that congestion pricing too.
Yeah, that keeps me out of Manhattan. I don't.
Yeah,
I've stopped going to
that keeps
Manhattan.
all of us out of Manhattan.
Yeah, but the 1 or 2 times I went, I'll tell you, brother, the roads are clear, and parking is easy after 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
man. But yo, this is, for those who are watching, man. This is 5 borough love right here, man.
yeah.
It's all 100%, man. I spent a lot of lovely nights, summer days in the Bronx, man. You know,
Probably robbing
enjoying
people.
myself. Nah, I wasn't robbing anybody, man. The Bronx is beautiful. They got that culture. They got that Dominican, baby. They got the Jamaicans. They got that black, like, the Bronx, man. I love all the boroughs, man. I love all the boroughs. This is just,
Even Staten Island.
Is that, where's that?
Staten Island is a borough.
Oh, is that not? No, I'm joking. Yeah, Yo, this is New York jokes, man. Everybody, it's nothing personal, man. It's
Yeah.
New York jokes, man. I love Staten Island too. My people in Park Hill gonna look at me and be like, "You they African. They Liberian. They gonna be like, you trying to diss us?" You know. But nah, man. I love New York City, man. It's
Yeah, definitely.
you know, it's home for me, man. And I appreciate you, brother.
No problem. Once again, thanks again. And for everyone, as I always state, my friends are better than yours. And if you have any friends that are better than mine, come to me. Let's prove it. And I'm pretty sure I'm always right at all times. So until the next time, Big Said, industry code sign. And to my guest, that Brooklyn guy,
Best style to be exact. Attica, best style to be exact.
Attika Torrencia. Until next time, peoples.